Hello everyone, welcome to your live class with Talent Sprint. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic in CDP called assessments. We are going to discuss about what is the purpose of assessment, what are the types of assessment. And before we go and start our session, let's see who all are there online. I see Kush online. Hi Kush. I see Sunny online. I see Saurav Kumar online. Hi Sunny, hi Saurav. I see Divyanshu Sharma online. Hi Divyanshu. I see Yasmin Ramzan online. Hi Yasmin. I see Deepshika Verma online. Hi Deepshika. Okay, let me first address the question that was posted by Kush Singh, saying that CTET statement is going to be out in a couple of working days. As of now, we didn't have any official notification saying the same. Once there is a notification, you can definitely expect a video or some kind of intimation from Talent Sprint very next day. Okay, so you don't really have to worry about that. As soon as there's a notification out, you will be intimated about the same through Talent Sprint. Okay, let's see who all are present. Akriti Gupta is here. Hi Akriti. Prachi Singh is here. Hi Prachi. Okay, let's try and make this session as interactive as possible. Okay, and if you have any doubts, like I'm going to give like time 2 to 5 minutes after every session where you can post as many doubts as you have. I will clarify the same, but try being as interactive as possible. Just post your genuine responses to the questions that I ask. That will make you really interactive and make you involved in the session. I hope to have a interactive session ahead, and I also see Medha Anand online. Hi Medha Anand. Okay, and Swagata is online. Hi Swagata. I see Mr. DN online. If you can ping your name, that's really helpful, DN. Okay, now try and observe before we enter into what are the types of assessment. Try and pay attention to the word assessment. What is the key word that you can find in there? Assess. Assess is the key word of the word assessment. What does assess mean? Assess means you are testing, you are evaluating, right? That is the word of assessment. Something which is similar, which most of the teachers get confused in between, is assessments and assignments. Both of them sound like same. Most of them think that both are same, but they are not, right? Assignments is completely for a different purpose. If you can observe the root word of assignment, you will understand. You are assigning some work to students. The major goal out of assignment is to make student learn something, while the major goal of assessment is to evaluate something, test something. Okay, and how these assessments can be done? There are 4 different ways. We are going to discuss 4 different ways of how an assessment can be carried inside the classroom. So without any further delay, let's enter into the live class. And I also see Sabar Alim online. Hi Sabar Alim. Okay, now remember that time, like when you were going to school, right? There were these times when you know that there is an assessment. There is some kind of, like, for me there was always some kind of nervousness. Even if I know that I am good at the subject that is being tested, I know that there is something that might get me into trouble. Okay, I always used to be nervous, and I always made sure that I had 3 pens in my pocket. I don't know why, but I always used to have 3 pens, not 2, 3. Maybe I was overconscious at that point of time. What did you do during your assessment time? I'm going to wait for your responses. What did you feel? What is one thing that you remember about assessments in your school days? when you were a student, if there was an assessment in your classroom, what are the things that you used to do, you used to feel? Abdul Hakim is here. Hi Abdul Hakim. Radhika is here. Hi Radhika. What is something that each of you used to feel when there is an assessment? Do you remember anything, what it felt like an assessment day? Stress and tension. Medha Anand had lots of stress and tension. Great. What else? Sagta also used to feel a lot of tension. Sai Rajeshwari is here. Hi Sai Rajeshwari. Meera Shetri and Virendra Singh are also here. Prachi used to feel a lot of pressure and Sabir used to feel fear. Medha was also scared. I'm going to wait for 30 more seconds for your responses, and I'm glad to see so many people responding so fast. Meera Shetri was nervous. Too much of syllabus, matlab too much of work for your memory. That's what Medha Anand used to feel. Julie David is here. Hi Julie. Abdul Hakim also used to feel a lot of pressure. Lack of freedom is what Saurav Kumar felt. Very interesting answers, but did you observe something in common, like all of you and me have something in common when it comes to assessments in our school days? There was some kind of negative feeling attached to it, right? We were nervous, we were tense, we were scared, we had a lot of fear, we had like tons of pressure of syllabus. All these are negative feelings, like these were some negative connotations always attached to the word assessments during our school time. Why? Why did this happen? I also see a couple of new responses. Yasmin saying that she was nervous. Alok Singh is online. Hi Alok. TN says that there was pressure. But why so many negative feelings used to, like even I used to have it. Let's take a minute and think why we had these negative feelings. Why is always assessment treated as something negative, or not negative as in like I hate it, but something that I'm scared of, something that makes me nervous? Why I can't be casual like any other day of school during assessment day? What is that difference? What made me, students like me, you, very nervous in exams, like in assessment days? Medha is saying fear of getting less marks. Perfect. Great answer. Medha used to have that assessment, have that fear because she feared getting less marks. And if you are getting less marks, people will judge you, your teacher will say things about you, you might get a punishment, your parents are going to be upset with you. Fear of failure, fear of future. Like, see how interesting these are. Fear for failure, less confidence because feeling of inferior. Great. Love to see your responses online. Like, I love the crowd. All of you are very interactive. Family pressure. Richa Sinha is here. Fear of what kind of questions would come, and that is indirectly related to that would help me understand how many marks I am going to get. Negative question, negative marks for questions maybe. Deepshika Verma is saying negative question. Okay, so try and understand what's happening here, like what you and I felt during assessment time. Then we can derive what our students will feel now. So what you and I felt is like, okay, I'm going to be judged after this assessment. Someone is going to punish me. Someone is going to decide how fast I learned. So assessment, as the root word suggests or the keyword suggests, it is to assess students so that it will help them to study better, to make them a better learner. But what actually assessment did to us is they inculcated a lot of fear, because all of us at some point of time considered them as only opportunity to prove ourselves. If you have learned something, you have to get good marks in quarterly. If you have been sincere in your classroom, then you have to get first rank in your final examinations. If you are a good student, you should at least get 70% in half-yearly examination. These are kinds of terms that you used to hear. And there were also parents who would say like why are you getting less marks other than this than our neighbors? Why is it happening? Why are you not on third rank? Why are you on fourth rank? Okay, some things like that always used to appear in our lives. These are the statements that we are very used to. Why did this happen? As just we have discussed that assessment, the root word suggests that we are assessing students. But are we actually assessing students? We are judging them more than we are assessing them. You understand the difference between assessing and judging, right? Assessing is that you are evaluating what's happening and how much of good is there, how much of learning happened, how much of learning still needs to be inculcated. That is assessment. How much is the student able to learn in certain period of time? What are the things he is good at? What are the things he is not really good at? These are the things that you draw out of an assessment. But out of a judgment, you give them some kind of what is that called? You assign names to them, you give them characters, you stereotype them, saying that this is a good student, this is a bad student, this one is great in science but is very poor in math. Okay, this student cannot understand languages, this student is only good in languages, but when it comes to science and math, he fails terribly. This is a slow learner, this one is a fast learner. Okay, so we somehow got very judgmental taking these terms of assessments. While assessments are only meant to evaluate student learning. Let me repeat myself. The main aim of assessments is to evaluate students' learning, is to assess their learning. And how do you use that learning? How do you use the assessment of learning? You have 4 types which we will be discussing in next 10 minutes. But the main aim of assessments is not to judge someone. It is to assess student learning, to make them a better learner. For example, if I am getting some marks, for example, in social I've got 100 out of 100, but in math I've got only 60 out of 100. Is there a conclusion that can be made? Yes, this person is good in social, not that good in math. Okay, but why not that good in math? What is the topics that he or she is failing to understand? What are the calculations that he or she is getting it wrong? Right? These are all the valuable outputs that you can get from a assessment, because you are using it to assess a student. You will never use it to judge a student. What happens when you use it to judge a student? What happened to us? Students will inculcate a fear, a negative feeling, a tension, a nervousness towards an examination, and that will only decrease their performance in the examination. Negative feelings, anything related to scareness, fear, will never help a student, right? So that will only put down their morale and bring their performance levels down. So assessment should be used to assess a student, to help them learn better, to help them become a better learner, but it should never judge a student. Okay, let me repeat myself. Assessments are to assess students. The root word, remember the root word, it is to assess a student. It is never to judge a student or assign a label or just give up on some students, like this student has failed in 4 subjects, nothing can happen with him. No. Why he failed in 4 subjects? What's wrong? Is it something wrong with the student or teacher or teaching principal or something else? There can be hundreds of reasons behind it. You just are assessing his learning. You are not judging that person. Assessment is only related to the learning levels of the student. It's not about the capability of the student or interest of the student. Assessment is only for learning, not for judging. Okay? Okay guys, I see a couple of questions on mock test. Since we are concentrating on pedagogy, now till the class is over, I am only going to focus on this lesson. If you have any doubts, I am going to give you some time after the live class. Then after this session is over, after discussion on this is over, then you can come up with your questions on different issues of talent sprint. But till we complete the given topic, we are only going to stay focused on the topic, because if some of you are digressing from the topic, it will get difficult for all others present in the live session to follow it completely. So for the time being, I'm going to avoid all the questions which are not relevant to the topic. I'm only going to take the questions which are relevant to the topic. Pachi said that comparison was the biggest fear of mine. Yeah, that also used to happen. Choosing the correct alternative, like most of the times an exam will determine your future, whether you are good enough for a college, when you are not, or whether you are going to get a scholarship or not. So that will actually a kind of a career decider. Chavivats is here. Hi Chavivats. Because we are judged by marks. Radhika Bakshat says we were judged by marks. Yasmin says fear of judgment. Medha Anand says, Medha, we are going to come about the paradigms of assessment in a while. We are going to discuss about the type of assessments in a while. Please be patient for five minutes. After that, we'll go towards it. Okay. Okay. Are everyone clear what is the purpose of assessment? Can someone just put it in the words, whatever you have learned? What is the purpose of assessment? What have you learned till now? I'm going to wait for your responses. What is a purpose of assessment? Alisha and Deepak are here. Welcome both of you. You both are a bit late. Try to be on time so that you don't miss any of the sessions. Okay, I'm going to wait for your responses again. What is a purpose of assessment? Improvement. Yasmin says is improvement. Medha says children are being assessed. Prachi says evaluation of students. Only to Chaitranchu says only to assess. Sabir Alam says to know how much he or she has learned. Medha Chetri says, okay. Kuldeep says, hey Kuldeep, welcome to live class. Yatan says continuous improvement. Meera Chetri says it is for learning, to know about learning outcomes. Evaluation of student. Abdul Hakim says, Chavi Word says to assess a student. DN says evaluation of student. Rajeshwari says to give the feedback to students to see the level of learning is what Alisha says. Evaluating student for improvement is what Yashin thinks. Roshidul thinks that it is to know about learning outcomes. Okay. For understanding students' view and thinking is what Swagata thinks. Evaluation of students. How much student can learn. Okay. Now it's very clear to observe that some of you think that it is for student improvement, some of you think that it is to understand how much he has learned, how much he has not learned. Someone thinks that it is to just evaluate the learning. Yes, there are different types of assessments and for which we follow different methods, but the main aim of assessment is to assess a student learning, not to judge a student learning. Okay. Pachasing says find the area of find the area of improvement of students and work towards to rectify it. Okay. Collect progress in all subjects. Chitranshu says to know about our mistakes, to make our diagnosis, as Nidhi Arora says. It's beautiful to read your comments. Like, yes, there are different kinds of assessment, but once we progress to the next part of the sessions, all of you are going to understand what is the type of assessment that you are referring to. There are 4 types of assessments as I spoke, and 4 have different purposes, and most of the purposes I am able to see in the comments. That's beautiful. To know the student level of understanding whether the teacher has achieved the objective of teaching or not. Okay, that's what Julie David thinks. Deepak Kumar thinks how much they understand and where they are lacking. Okay, now take a pause, have this understanding. I'm going to repeat myself once again. Assessments are to assess a student's learning, never to judge or assign names to them, never to stereotype them. Okay, with this understanding we are going to solve some 3 questions. 3 questions on purpose of assessments. I hope to see all of your answers. I hope all of you are very quick and very responsive, yet most of you get it correctly. Okay, and if you have enough time, if you have already answered the question and if you have enough time, then you can also post the reason why you have chosen some particular option as the correct option. Okay, okay, just give me a second. Great. Here is question number 1 on your screen. Ready? Let's see who will get it right. Assessment, option A, is a good strategy to label and categorize children. B, should actively promote competitive spirit among children. C, should generate tension and stress to ensure learning. D, is a way to improve learning. Okay, I already see answers. Jasmine has answered first, followed by Prachi Singh, followed by Medha Anand, followed by Alisha, followed by Mannu, followed by Sabir, followed by Sai Rajeshwari, followed by Kaushik. Next is Nidhi. Next Chitranshu, next is Swagata, next Julie, next Kuldeep, next Avipsa, next is Bhavna, followed by Abdul Hakim, followed by Sangapriya, next is Yatansh, followed by Meera Chitri, followed by Roshidul, followed by Divyanshu, next is Ragini, next is DN, next is Chandrasekhar, next is Sanhi. Okay, let me wait for 15 more seconds before I go ahead and reveal the answer. Chavi also has responded. Julie has responded with a beautiful explanation, and I think Avipsa is one more person who responded with a beautiful explanation. Sabir Alim also has posted his reasoning. As we do assessments to assess the student learning, not stereotype them or label them. Perfect. Julie David, perfect answer, perfect explanation. Deepak Kumar has also posted his response. Well, time up. Okay. And Sara Kumar also has posted his response. Okay. The question given is, assessment is a good strategy to label and categorize children, should actively promote competitive spirit among children, should generate tension and stress to ensure learning, is a way to improve learning. Okay, let's go by options one by one. Most of you have answered it as option D, but let's go by options one by one. Option 1 says it is a good strategy to label or categorize children, which is completely against the purpose of assessment. We have just discussed assessment is never to judge or label or to categorize students. So option 1 is not the correct answer. So option 1 is eliminated. Option B says should actively promote competitive spirit among the children. It is to assess the children. It's not to actually inculcate competitive spirit, or like if you are inculcating competitive spirit, you are in a way asking them to compete with each other. In that scenario, judgment is the outcome that happens. You are a fast learner, you are not a fast learner, you have scored these many marks, you have not. This is not something healthy. This is not what is the purpose of assessment. So option B is also eliminated. Option C says should generate tension and stress to ensure learning. Well, I'm sure none of you would think that tension or stress is a great strategy to help children learn. That is actually a very negative trait attached to students. It will create a stigma, it will inculcate fears in them, it will inculcate loss of confidence in them. So that will never result in something positive like learning something new. So that's not a good strategy, hence C is also eliminated. Obviously D is the answer, but let's see what is option D. Option D says is a way to improve learning. Perfect. Because assessment, we are assessing students' performance by which we can help them to improve the learning. Perfect. So the correct answer is option D. I think 95% of the students who have answered it option D. That's great start. All of you are on the path. All of you are getting it right. So let's go ahead, see question number 2. I hope all of you will get it right this time also. Okay, but if you are doubtful also, don't hesitate to answer. As we have just learned, assessment is a way to improve. This is how you can improve. When you are answering, you'll follow a strategy, right? Like, okay, I think this is the answer because of this reason. When you hear explanation from instructor, then you can understand, okay, maybe if I am right, great, I am right because I thought in the correct direction. If you are wrong, you can think that, okay, I am wrong because here is where I made mistake. Once you can evaluate your learning like that, then it will help you perform way better in the examinations. Make sure that you clear CTET in the first go. So I'm expecting a lot of responses, lot of participation. And here is question number 2 for you. The main purpose of assessments should be. The main purpose of assessment should be A. To point out the errors of the learners. B. To measure the achievement of learners. C. To decide if a student should be promoted to next class. D. To diagnose and remedy gaps in learning. Okay, I think couple of you have already also recorded your responses once I started explanation. Deepak Kumar, Saurav, Roshidul, Radhika Baksh and Chavi gave an explanation. Okay, I love the way how Prachi, Abdul Hakim and the others are Yasmin are answering. Meera Chitri, Prachi Singh, great. If you are attaching the number of questions before giving the option, I know that this is the particular question that you are answering to. I think Prachi has answered it first, followed by Meera Chitri, followed by Chitranshu. Next is Yasmin, Bhavna, Saurav, Prachi, Abdul, Mannu, Divyanshu, Chandan, Medha, Deepa Maurya, Swagata. Okay. Sai Rajeshwari, Yatan Singh, Sangapriya, Kuldeep, DN, Puneet Thakur, Alisha Purkait, Sabir, Kaushik, Divyanshu, Chandan, Medanand, Deepa, Sunny, Julie, David, Divyanshu, Deepak, Ragni, Deepak. Okay, Deepak has corrected his answer. Interesting. Some of you think it's option D and some of you think it's option B. Let's see. We have 30 more seconds. Chanvi Vats, Nidhi Arora, Fifteen more seconds. Okay. The question given is the main purpose of assessment should be A. To point out the errors of the learners, B. To measure the achievement of learners, C. To decide if a student should be promoted to next class, D. To diagnose and remedy gaps in learning. I can see why some of you have chosen option D while some of you have chosen option B, but try and understand what are we doing broadly in each and every option to point out errors in learning. We are adding a negative connotation. If you are saying students that okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, you are bringing down their moral. That's not going to help students. So option 1 is eliminated. Option B says to measure the achievements of learning. Okay, yes, you are helping them by understanding what they have learned. You are attaching a positive note, but is measuring achievements the sole purpose of learning? Right? No, right? When you are saying you want to measure achievements, that means that you want to rank people, or you want to give appreciation to a student who has achieved. Isn't it a way of judgment? Think about it. I know some of you might face difficulties in understanding this topic. When you are saying that I am measuring achievements, that means you are going to reward those students who have achieved something. It is important, but is it the sole purpose of assessment? Is it the main reason why you are conducting assessment? No, because like it is good to appreciate each and every student for whatever they have achieved, but when you are assessing a student, you have to assess what are the area of improvements as well, so that you can help them and make them a better learner. Evaluation should lead them to become a better learner. So option B is not correct. Yes, that is one of the aims of assessment, but that is not the main purpose of assessment. One word that you have that you need to observe in the question is they have asked for the main purpose of assessment. Yes, measurement of achievement can be done. Students can be positively reinforced. They can be given appreciation, but that is not the main person. If you are that is not the main purpose. If you are keeping that as main purpose, then you are in a way judging students, like judging students positively who have achieved, and those who have not achieved, you will be judging them negatively. So that is something that you can do using an assessment, but that's not the main purpose of it. So option B is eliminated. Option C, to decide if a student should be promoted to next class or not. This is direct judgment. No, we are not going to do assessment for this. Okay, the classes and all should be decided based on what is the student, that what student have to learn next, what are the learning levels, what is the atmosphere that will best fit him to make his learning to the maximum possible. These are the factors that should be considered when you are deciding a class of students. But after this RTE and all, there are some other rules and regulations into place also, which we are not going to discuss at this point of time. But this conducting assessment is not how you decide whether a student should be promoted to next class or not. So option C is also eliminated, while option D says to diagnose and remedy gaps in learning. This is helping students learn better. Option D is something which is helping students learn better, is helping them better learn to get or to become a better learner after every assessment. That's how it is helping them. So correct answer is option D. So whoever have answered option D, congratulations, you have got it correct. And whoever have answered as option B, congratulations to you guys also, because you have learned where you have made that mistake. Next time this question is there on CTET paper, I'm sure none of you are going to make it wrong. So all of you have benefited from this. Okay. Julie David says, as through the assessment we can know why they lack and help them in a better way. Okay. Swagata Sains and Radhika Bix have replied to the question. Sabir Alam said that by assessment we can know that weaker session and we can help them to remedial class. Yes. Sangapriya Bora says that from assessment we can know where the students lack knowledge. Great. Yasmin says we can diagnose them and help them. Great. Kuldeep says in option D, research also we have got that. Okay, in action research also we get the same stages as in option D. Okay. What is an action research? Puneet Kaur has scored 2 out of 2. Great. I'm sure 85-90% of you have scored that. Great going. I see great amount of responses. Okay, with that spirit, let's go ahead and solve the next question. Here comes the third question on the purpose of assessment. I hope you all get it correct. If not, don't worry, I'm going to explain the same to you. Great. Third question. The assessment of students can be used by teachers in teaching to develop insight into. The assessment of students can be used by teachers in teaching to develop the insight into. Option A, not promoting those students who do not meet school standards. Option B, changing the teaching approach according to learners' need. Option C, creating group of bright and weak students in the classroom. Option D, identifying the students who need to be promoted to higher class. Okay, I think first answer is from Prachi Singh, followed by Yasmin, followed by Kush Singh, followed by Meera Chitri. Next is Sangapriya. Next is Saurav Kumar, followed by Puneet, followed by Abdul Hakim, followed by Julie David, followed by Bhavna. Next is Medha Anand, followed by Chandan Thakur, followed by Kaushik Das, followed by Sabir, followed by DN, followed by Sai Rajeshwari. Great responses. Followed by Kuldeep. Next is Swagata, followed by Saurav. Next is Chitranshu, Alisha, Divyanshu, Prachi. Saurav is 100% sure it's option B. Great, I like that confidence. Sunny. I'm going to wait for 10 more seconds. I love the way how Medha Anand is also giving the explanation. Payal Sharma and Roshi also have recorded their responses, followed by Nidhi. Okay, time up. So the question given is, the assessment of students can be used by the assessment of students can be used by teachers in teaching to develop insight into. Option A, not promoting those students who do not meet school standards. Option B, changing the teaching approach according to the learner's need. Option C, creating the group of bright and weak students in the class. Option D, identifying the students who need to be promoted into the higher class. Okay. Now, let's remember what is the purpose of assessment. One thumb rule is, not thumb rule, this is a simple logic that you can follow. Assessment, as the root word suggests, it is to assess the students and help them to become a better learner. It's not at all to judge them or to stereotype them. So if you look at options A, C and D, you are judging them somehow. Okay, not promoting students who do not meet the school standards. You are labeling them as weak students. You are also like hitting on their confidence, making them not sit with their peers. Option C says creating group of bright and weak students, clear stereotyping, clear division of students, clear hitting of morale of weak students. And there is a chance when you are repeatedly calling someone bright, there is also a chance that the student will take it to the head and not really perform the next time. He thinks that, okay, I don't have to put in extra efforts because I'm already bright. I don't have to work on anything more because I'm already great, right? Even that is a dangerous behavior that you can see in some of the students. Option D, identifying the students who need to be promoted to the higher class. Again, you are using them, you are using it as a judgment tool. So option A, C and D are clearly not true, while option B is saying changing the teaching approach according to the learner's need. This is how you are supporting them. This is a way in which a teacher can support a student to become a better learner. So clearly option B is the correct answer. And I can see beautifully Sabir and Kuldeep Vaghela have already recorded their reasoning behind the response that they have given. Great. Kuldeep says that so that we can teach them according to the strengths and weakness. Great. And Sabir Alam says, as we know that assessment mean it is way of learning, so we have to change the teaching approach if the students are not able to learn by teaching approach. Learn by any teaching approach. Perfect. And after that, I also see some of you who recorded your responses. Hey, Prachi Singh explained it very simply without any extra effort. Child-centered learning. Perfect. Okay, Deepa Maurya, Nidhi Arora, Chavi, Radhika, Yatansh have recorded the responses. Jasmine, Julie David, Nidhi Arora have given the reasoning. Great work, all of you. Great amounts of energies, great participation level, and great amounts of grasping. I really enjoy to share the space with bunch of teachers, because everyone is keen to explain, everyone wants to put their point across, give their reasoning around. It's very interactive and very fun to be here. I'm thoroughly enjoying this experience. I hope all of you are doing too. Now, with this understanding of what is the purpose of assessments, now we are going to discuss the types of assessments. There are 4 types of assessments, and this is something which is really important, because the same is going to be tested in across multiple pedagogies in the CTET examination. This types of assessment, what is the types of questions asked in the assessment, is a common topic that you can find in mostly all the pedagogies. Maybe you are a paper 1 student, maybe you are paper 2A or 2B student. This is some topic that you have to thoroughly understand and thoroughly master. So all of you, please focus, pay attention. Just give me a second. Okay, let's enter into the type of assessments now. There are 4 types of assessments, and one thing that is common in, like, when I'm giving you the names of this assessment, there is a great chance that all of you might get confused. So let me tell you the strategy first before I give out the names. These 4 names of these 4 assessments sounds very similar. There is the word assessment in everything, there is word learning in everything, but the preposition in between is going to change, right? In these 4 kinds of assessments, there are 4 kinds of prepositions that you can notice, and this is what makes the difference between these 4 assessments, and these names or these prepositions help you understand these assessments in the first go. Okay, due to time limitation, I'm going to explain only 2 types of assessments now. Assessment of learning, assessment, okay, let me take it a little slow. First one is assessment of learning. First preposition is of, assessment of learning. Second one is assessment for learning. Third one is assessment as learning. Fourth one is assessment in learning. Assessment of learning, assessment for learning, assessment as learning, assessment in learning. These are the 4 kinds of assessments. Okay, and 4 kinds have 4 different uses and 4 different outcomes. The main objective of conducting a particular kind of assessments will be different. Okay, so let's enter into the type of assessments. Let's begin with the first type, assessment of learning. OF, of learning. What is assessment of learning? Okay, you are assessing the learning, assessment of learning. Let me just, okay, For example, I am going to assessment is evaluation, right? Assessment of learning is evaluation of learning. That is, I am evaluating, or assessing, or I am trying to find out what is the amount of learning that has happened. Okay, assessment of learning means you are assessing the learning. The main outcome, the main objective of conducting, aim of these kinds of assessments is to evaluate a student learning. Now, can you give me an example of these kinds of assessments? Okay, guys, is everyone able to see me? In the responses, I can hear mixed kind of responses. So let me know if everyone is able to look at me clearly and hear me clearly. Are you able to see the picture clearly? Tests, summative assessments. Chitranshu says unit test, half yearly test. Assessment of learning is formative assessment. Okay. I'm so sorry, I really hope that I can do that, but what happens is, if I'm not explaining any kind of assessment in total, that is going to affect, like, that will result in you learning nothing perfectly. It's better that you learn 2 of the assessment strategies perfectly rather than just not having perfect knowledge on any of this. So that's the reason why I picked on this. Let's see if the time permits, we can maybe go ahead and deal with all of them. Okay, I'm not going to spend time in explaining this right now. Like, I see mixed kind of responses which contradict each other. Rajesh Singh says that she's having a network problem. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna be back in a minute. Guys, please stay online. I'll see you all in a minute. Worst case scenario in 2 minutes. Great, I'm back. I've checked the network. I'm like, most of you should not have a problem, but okay, let's come back to this types of assessments. First one, we were discussing assessments for learning, assessments of learning, in which we are going to evaluate a student's learning. Okay, some of you have told that it is formative assessment, some of you have told that it is summative assessment, some of you have said that unit test. Quarterly examinations, some of you have said that terminal examinations are examples of this. Now, one thing I really want all of you to understand is that the main aim, the main objective of this assessment is to grade student, is to evaluate student, is to assign marks to the learning. Okay, you are evaluating their learning. That is the main outcome, or that is the main objective of conducting a assessment of learning, and these are known as summative assessments, not formative assessments, summative assessments, where you are summing up their learning. Summative, sum is adding it all. You are trying to add all their learning and give them a report, or give their parents a report which will inform them about the same. This is summative assessment, and this is also called assessments of learning. The main objective of assessment of learning is to evaluate students' learning. You are assessing or you are evaluating students' learning. Evaluation of learning or assessment of learning. Okay, try to understand the keywords, try to understand the preposition that is used. Your assessment is of a student's learning. Assessment of learning. For example, I have learned everything about child development and pedagogy. You are assessing my learning. Your assessment of my learning, or someone's assessment of my learning, is called a CTET examination. Okay, this is something that I like this example. Okay, CTET examination is, what is CTET examination doing? It is giving you marks. It is telling you how good are you in particular subject, how much is your learning. It is assessing your learning. It is assessment of learning. Your learning is assessed by this examination. These kinds of examinations are generally called summative examinations. These happen in a longer term period. Usually the examinations like unit test, half yearly, quarterly, semester examinations, these are all the examples of summative assessments. Okay, here first one, as I told you, is assessment of learning. You are assessing or you are evaluating a student's learning. The main object is to evaluate their learning. Okay, what do you do with this evaluation? You can share the result, or you can keep it in the record, anything. This is called assessment of learning. You are assessing a learning. This summative assessment is an example for this. And one thing which will help you remember is CTET is something of this kind. Okay, now let's move forward to the next type of assessment. Next type of assessment is assessment for learning. For, F-O-R, for. What is the meaning of for? You are assessing so that student can learn. Okay, your assessment is for students to learn. It is helping students to learn. What kind of assessments can help students to learn? How can an assessment help students to learn? I'm going to wait for your responses. I know I may be running a little bit late of time, but I see all of you are greatly excited, and I see all of you are greatly interactive, and I hope all of you are eager to learn. So let me continue it for a while. Okay, Sangapriya says formative assessment. I am asking, how can an assessment help students learning? How can there be an assessment for learning? Like, how can it be done? I am asking a reason. I am asking what is that. I am not asking an example. I am asking the reason. How can an assessment help student learning? Assessment for learning. It is for the students to learn. It is to help students to learn. Okay, the main, I can say that it is to support students learning. Okay, how can an assessment be created to support students learning? How is my question. I am not asking what, I am asking how. We can ask questions while teaching. Okay, you are telling me a method, great, but try also coming up with a reason. Give me a reason, give me a logic how a student or how a student's learning can be helped or supported by an assessment. Continuous evaluation, again you are naming it. I'm going to push you a little harder because this will help you learning, this will help you retain the concept for a longer period of time. Perfect, great answer. Medha Anand says that to identify the gaps, that's what I'm looking for. Divyanshu says summative is assessment for learning and formative is assessment for learning. Let me come to that. Just don't remember it, like let's come to it gradually by logic. After assessments, we come to know the weaker section. Okay, great. Sabir Alin says an interesting point. Maybe Sabir, after assessment you also get to know that how a student, what is the stronger area of a student as well, right? Area of expertise also will be determined. Sunny says for learning means formative learning. For learning means formative learning. Example, oral test, worksheet. But how are they helping students to learn better? How do they support students to become better learners is my question. Raghavendra Tripathi says it's a self-assessment of teacher to change its strategy. One more great answer. Great. Raghavendra says that it is self-assessment of teacher. As a teacher, you will know what is going right and what is going wrong, so that we can make a good approach to teach them. Perfect. You also can remove weaker section. Okay, you are, by remove weaker section, I'm assuming that you want to eliminate students being weak in a subject. You want to make all of them strong learners. Perfect. Nidhi Arora says we can know about the mistakes and rectify them. Perfect. By providing scaffolding. Wow. I see Prachi Singh is on, like, she's on the path for excellent education. She's good at her preparation. She's interrelating concepts. Scaffolding, remember. Chandan Thakur, use question method. Okay, you are again naming a method. Again, by question method, how are you supporting their learning? Maybe if you're using scaffolding in a question method, maybe yes. Kuldeep, it helps them understand students' need, to identify the gaps, to identify the weak area of a student is what Sai Rajeshwari says. DN says is to identify the gaps. Chitranshu says to give them valuable feedback. Perfect. Okay. First of all, I'm very glad, I'm extremely thrilled to see your responses. Great responses. Yes, this is how you can support a student learning. Feedback is the greatest outcome of assessment for learning. Feedback for whom? Feedback for students, feedback about students, feedback to teachers. You will give a feedback to students saying that Akash, here you are making a mistake. Sorry. You can say that Akash, you are making a mistake here. This is where you are facing problem every time, or this is kind of step that you are getting a mistake at. Let me tell you how to how to solve this problem. This is one kind of support. This is feedback to the students. Second one, feedback about the students. You understand that what kind of approaches or what is the kind of methodology that you have used that will help the students learn better. Or if you are conducting assessment in particular way, then you are able to record the responses better. Okay, you are knowing about them. And 3, feedback about teaching also. Today I use this methodology that made students learn the maximum. Today I use this different approach that didn't really work in the classroom because student learning levels have gone down. And third one is you can say that okay, these are the props or manipulators that I've used. Maybe these have helped the students greatly, or you can think that okay, maybe these have confused them too much. This will give you the most valuable suggestion for a teacher called feedback. That is the main purpose of assessments for learning. This will help students for learning. Okay, this assessment is only for learning. Okay, these are the first 2 methods. First one is assessment of learning, where you are just evaluating their learning. That is the main takeaway from that. Second one is assessment. First one is assessment of learning. Second one is assessment for learning, where you are getting feedback. You are getting feedback about students. You are getting feedback about your own teaching methodologies also. This is the main takeaway for assessments for learning. These are also called formative assessments. So now please just shout out the example of formative assessment. What are the different examples of formative assessments? What are the examples of formative assessments? Kuldeep says interview, Payal says unit test, Sabir says achievement test, Divyanshu says class test. Sabir, be careful, achievement test, you are again saying you are evaluating the learning. That it will again take to summative assessment. Payal says projects, Bhavna says unit test, UT is unit test. Guys, please use the full form, otherwise I have to assume like meanings to the answers. Payal says debates, Prachi says unit test, Divyanshu says weekly test. Julie says a short quiz after teaching a topic. Rajeshwari says formative assessment in unit test, slit test discussion. Chitranshu says student monitor their own program, that is self-assessment. No. Chitranshu, self-assessment is different from assessments for learning. Alicia says surprise test. Nidhi says class dictation. Hassan says special child short-term goal test. Sangapriya says giving some sums to do after finishing a math topic, that is a topic assessment or a classroom assessment. Classroom teaching understanding test, that is end of the lesson assessment. After the lesson you conduct a small assessment. Perfect, great answers. Now is the interesting question, and if you get this correct, that means that you have mastered the difference between assessment as learning and assessment for learning. And I'm really excited to see how many of you are going to get it correct. So my question is, I have conducted a unit test, or maybe make it very clear. I have conducted an annual examination, that is end of the year examination or final semester examination. It is called in different ways in different places. I have conducted this examination, but the main use of this examination, I have used the result of these examinations to take feedback about students' learning. The main use of this examination, or the main takeaway from my examination, is to understand students' learning. Understand the question? I have conducted an examination in the classroom. I, as a teacher, have conducted an examination called end of the year examination, annual examination in the classroom. But the results are not used to show to the parents or create a report card. All the results are used to understand students' learning. Then what is it? A formative assessment or summative assessment? I'm repeating my question again. If I, as a teacher, have if I have conducted a final examination or end of the year examination, and I have used it to understand or to take feedback about students' learning and my teaching, not to create assessment reports or not to evaluate the learning, what is that test called? Summative test or formative test? Assessment of learning or assessment for learning? Okay, Sabir Alam, Alisha, Meda Anand, Kuldeep, Prachi, Raghavendra. No, you can't. Raghavendra, you're saying summative assessment used as formative assessment. It can be either summative or formative. I understand what you're trying to say, but I am pushing you to be a little more specific. What is it called? Is it a summative or a formative assessment? The assessment that I have taken. DN has recorded his responses. Sangapriya has recorded her responses. Nidhi, Julie, David, Prachi, Chandan, Meera, Medha, Sunny, Raghavendra. Assessment for learning. Sabir, Tamil, Sai Rajeshwari, Chitranshu, Rana, Divyanshu. Last 5 seconds. Okay, 98% of you have got it correct. Yes, these are formative assessments or assessments for learning. What is the outcome of an assessment is important. What is the name of assessment is not important. For you to decide the genre or to categorize assessments, the main thing that you have to look at is how the assessment is used, how the results of assessments are used. So that is a formative assessment or assessment for learning, because I'm using the results to take a feedback. I'm not using the results to create records or to show it to parents. So it will not be a summative assessment, or it will not be assessment of learning. I'm not evaluating learning. What I'm doing is I'm taking feedback. That is assessment for learning. Okay, and all of you who have got it correct, that's beautiful to watch. Great work, all of you. I'm glad that I think most of you have got it correct. Great. Now, is there any doubt? I'm going to wait for 30 minutes. Sorry, that's a bad time. I'm going to wait for 30 seconds to understand if any of you have doubt on this topic or in the question that I've asked. If there are no doubts, let's go ahead and solve a couple of questions on this, and we'll call it a day. Any doubts? If you have understood, you can say that yes, I understood. But you have to post some response so that I can understand. Yes, Meera Chitri, summative assessment is to mainly assess. We are evaluating their learning. That means we are certifying grades. It might be giving marks, okay, but somehow you are evaluating the learning. It's the way to measure the learning, not to take a output. Great. Okay, no question. No doubts, all clear, perfect. I'm glad none of you have doubts. Okay, there are 3 questions on this topic. I'm going to put one by one, and I wish all of you all the best. I hope all of you get it correct. If not also, I hope all of you go away with valuable feedback, that is, use it as assessment for learning. So ready all of you? Here is first question on types of assessment. Question number 1. A teacher collects and reads the work of the class, then plans and adjusts the next lesson to meet student needs. He or she is doing. Julie David, I'm sure that you have done some mistakes in pressing the button. Please check your answer again. Sangapriya has answered, Medha has answered. Okay, Julie David has answered, Bhavana has answered, Alisha has answered, Prachi answered, Nidhi answered. After that, Meera Chitri, followed by Raghavendra, followed by Dian, followed by Chitranshu, followed by Sunny, followed by Akira Gulla, followed by Sai Rajeshwari, followed by Prachi Sharma, followed by Sangapriya Bora, followed by Chitranshu, followed by Ranjita, followed by Yatansh, followed by Tamil Isai, followed by Radhika, followed by Divyanshu. Great. Ten more seconds. After that, I'll reveal the answer. Kuldeep has given a beautiful explanation. Great. Radhika, Divyanshu, Payal Sharma, Prabhakar, okay, most of you have got it correct. The correct answer is what do you think? Okay, let me read the question once more. The question given is, a teacher collects and reads the work of the class, then plans and adjusts the next lesson to meet student needs. He or she is doing A. Assessment of learning, B. Assessment as learning, C. Assessment for learning, D. Assessment at learning. See, one way you are at an advantage because you have only two options. I have only explained two questions, so two types of assessments. So I am going to ask only two types of questions. So it's either A or option C. Let's see what is the question telling us. The question is telling that a particular teacher is using it as feedback. How he is using that? He is reading the work of class, he is looking at the work of the class and then planning and adjusting next lesson. That is, he is taking a feedback and altering his own methods. He is taking a feedback to make himself better at teaching, make himself better at identifying student needs. That's why it is assessment for learning. Option C is the correct answer, and I think most of you have got it correct. After that, Mamta and Prachi have also replied. Hope all of you have understood why it is, as the teacher is taking it, using the assessment for taking a feedback to plan the next session. That's why it is a formative assessment or assessment for learning. Okay, next question. I hope all of you are ready and I hope all of you get this right. Great. Which one of the following statements is true? The formative assessment can sometimes be summative assessment and vice versa. The summative assessment implies that assessment is a continuous and integral part of learning. The major objective of formative assessment is to grade the achievements of students. D. The formative assessment summarizes the development of learners during a time interval. This is question number 3. Question number 2 was about different methods, so I am not going taking you through question number 2. Please use the name of the question. Okay, interesting. Prachi Sharma followed by Bhavna, followed by DN, followed by Sabir, followed by Sangapriya, Meera Chetri, Sabir Alam, Tamil Isai, all of them have responded. And I see a difference in opinion. Some of you think it's B and some of you think it's D. Great, let's see. Okay. Chitranshu, Medha, Prachi, Julie David also have recorded their responses. Sunny, Mamta, Kuldeep. Guys, I want you to take a minute of time, understand what each and every assessment is talking about. Option 1, what is it talking about? What is the main outcome? Option 2, what is the main outcome? Option 3, what is the main outcome? Okay. Mamta, Kuldeep, Prachi, Alisha, Rana, Rajeshwari, Medha Anand, Raghavendra Tripathi, Radhika. Julie David have responded. And Radhika has an interesting question. Sorry, not Radhika. Medha has an interesting question which I'll come back to you in a while. Vishant Singh has replied. I'm waiting for 5 more seconds. After that, I'm going to reveal the answer. Yatansh and Venkatesham have replied. Okay, time up. This is one of the very interesting questions of today's classroom, but because most of you have answered it as option D, while I'm sorry to inform you, option D is not the correct answer. If you recollect option D, it talks about the formative assessment summarizes the development of learners during a time interval. What do you mean by summarizing the development of students at a time interval? Is it not evaluating their learning? Then it should be it should not be formative, right? It should be summative. The option clearly says the formative assessment summarizes the development of learners during a time interval. Let me share the screen with you so that you also can see the same. Option D, what is it talking? Formative assessment summarizes the development of learners during a time interval. If you are summarizing the development during a time interval, isn't it not evaluating? Isn't it what a summative assessment is supposed to do? Then how is it a formative assessment? We have learned that formative assessments, the main aim of formative assessment is to take feedback, maybe feedback about your teaching style or maybe feedback about the learners. Then option D is unfortunately not the correct answer. But I'm glad most of you have got it wrong, because now that once you have made it wrong, you will understand where you have gone wrong. Now that you know option D is wrong, I'm going to give you all one more chance. Rethink your answers. Now tell me what is the correct answer. I'm taking responses from you one more time. Now tell me what is the correct answer. Read the question once again and come up with the correct answer. And this time it would be great if I can see some reasons, some logics why you have chosen a particular answer as the correct answer. One more time. Which one of the following statements is true? Sunny has responded, Poonam has responded. Medha has responded. Rajeshwari has responded. Medha has changed her response. DN has responded. Meera has responded. Poonam has responded. Tamil Isai has responded. Prabhakar has responded. Sangapriya has responded. Kashapuramra has responded. Ranajita has responded. Okay, I've already got responses. Let me see the responses. Few minutes back, ma'am, you asked a question about unit test where summative is being made into formative. Okay, great. Alisha says assessment of learning is to evaluate students. Is to give the purpose of dates also. Great. But option C is saying that assessments of learning, assessments, you have to remember assessment of learning means summative assessment. Assessment for learning is formative assessment. So Alisha, you have got your own answer. You are saying assessment of learning is to evaluate, but they are talking about, option C is talking about formative assessment, which is assessment for learning. It's not assessment of learning. So please re-evaluate your answer. Okay. Continuous means we are observing continuously by unit test, half yearly and test. Okay. If unit test, half yearly and annually are continuously observing, what if I am conducting a test every day? Or what if I am conducting a test after every period? Is that not continuous observation? Think about it. Sangapriya says summative assessment is necessary to evaluate how much student has to learn during the whole year. True. But the option is saying summative assessment implies that student is that assessment is a continuous and integral part of learning. That is, integral part of learning is being assessment is in learning itself. Both of them are mutually interrelated. That's not the correct answer. Summative assessment is mainly to evaluate students' learning. It is not included in student learning itself. No, it is conducted with a different purpose of evaluating students. So, option B can also be not correct. Prachi says D is correct. Why? Give me a reason. Whatever you think is the correct answer, I'm ready to believe it, I'm ready to say yes, but give me a reason. Make it difficult or make it impossible for me to say no. Come up with a logic. It's easy, I know it is easy and most of you are waiting for answers and would feel very light if I give away the answer, but this will make you think by your own and come up with an answer. So let's spend some few more minutes on this question. It's okay, no loss to anyone. Trust me, this is going to help all of you learn better. Bhavna Mandari says now finally A. Might be. Okay, actually, like I think I've spent my time proving B, C, D are not correct. So yes, option A is the correct answer. Let me read the question once again for you. Question says, which one of the following statements is true? Option A, formative assessment can sometimes be summative assessment and vice versa. B, the summative assessment implies that assessment is a continuous and integral part of learning. C, the major objective of a formative assessment is to grade the achievement of students. D, the formative assessment summarizes the development of learners during a time interval. Now, we have discussed option A. We have discussed this concept. Remember, I gave you an example about if I've conducted a final examinations to take feedback of students' learning, that will still be a formative assessment. That which means formative assessment can be used as summative assessment, summative assessment can be used as formative assessment. So option A is true. I've already explained this, but let me spend some time on why option B, C and D are false, because most of you are confused. So it's no harm in spending a little time on that. B, summative assessment implies that assessment is a continuous and integral part of learning. Assessment is a continuous part. Summative assessment need not be continuous, need not happen at regular interval of time. This will happen when you want to show the records of students' achievement, when you want to evaluate students' learning. They need not be continuous, and definitely they are not integral part of learning, right? It is not mutually included in learning. It is conducted with a separate purpose. C, the major objective of formative assessment is to grade the achievement of students. No, the major objective of formative assessment is to take feedback, for the teachers to take feedback. Okay. D, formative assessment summarizes the development of learners during time interval. No, formative assessment gives a feedback. It wouldn't summarize the development of learners during a time period. That is done by summative assessment. So option A is correct. Option B, C, D are wrong. Okay, kudos to everyone who got it right and who haven't. It's okay. I hope you have learnt it now. If there is any more confusion, do post it in your comments. I'll be more than happy to go through that. I'm going to wait for 15 seconds to see if any of you still have doubt. If not, let's go to the final question of today's. Yeah, these are similar. That's challenging, right? That's why there is an assessment. But it's important for you to understand difference. I hope all of you are pretty confident about assessment of learning and for learning at the end of this live class. Spend this live class. If you are still confused, go back to the live class, stream it once again, understand it once again, so that you master this concept today itself. And if you are enrolled student of Talent Sprint, go through the puzzles and the topic assessment given after this, so that you can finish this chapter today itself. Yes, tricky question. Great. Let me now go ahead to the final question of today's live class. All the best, everyone. This is a bit tricky too. Let's see how many of you feel this as a tricky question. Here is the question. I'm not reading the question because me reading the question is going to create more confusion for you. So take time, read the question, post your responses. Prachi, formative assessment is not to assess at regular interval. Formative assessment is to take feedback of teachers' teaching style or students' learning style. To assess students at regular intervals or to assess students, the kind of assessment that is conducted is assessment of learning. Okay. Okay, Radhika already has posted her response for question number 4. Great. Medha Anand has posted her response as well. Chitranshu Kesharwani has posted her response. Guys, again, this question is one of the trickiest questions in this topic of assessments in child development and pedagogy. So take your time, understand it, read it once, twice, how many times you ever want, and then come up to an answer. Again, it's interesting to see your responses till this time. Okay, let me pause taking responses at this point of time. Now, let me tell you one thing. Most of you told that option B is correct, which says that assessment for learning influences learning by reinforcing the differences between assessment and instruction. Does assessment for learning tell you about the differences between instruction or assessment? I don't think so. So option B is not correct. Why not correct? You have to tell me. Tell me why option B is not correct. We'll spend some time on that, but now take time, take 30 seconds more and think about what is the correct answer. Okay, as I told you, it is a challenging question. Spend your energy on it, focus and understand the question. Okay, it's okay if you have got it wrong. The main aim is to learn something before you walk out from this session. So read it once again and try to come up with an answer. Okay, let me share the screen for you. Jaspreet Kaur has answered. Rajeshwari has answered. Take time. It's okay even if you are taking time. It's not like whoever answers first wins. In Talent Sprint also, we don't use assessments to judge students. We just use it for supporting students to learn. Prachi has replied, Medha has replied. Great, great. Bhavna has replied. Take time, understand, then record your responses. Okay. Radhika Biksh, Harjit, Venkatesham. 50 more seconds. After that, I am going to reveal the answer and I am going to tell you what is the reason behind it as well. 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, the correct answer is A. So the question given is assessment dash learning influences learning by reinforcing the dash between assessment and instruction. The correct answer is assessment for learning that is formative assessment, influences learning by reinforcing the connection between assessment and instruction. Okay. Now, why is it the correct answer? Why is option A the correct answer? Assessment for learning or formative assessment gives students or gives teacher a feedback about teaching style or about the learner's grasping level or the method of their interest, right? It will give you a feedback. So that feedback will again be inculcated in your planning. Lesson planning will be done because of that. Remember the lesson plan cycle? Just let me try and get it. Okay. So how does this lesson plan work? I am going to plan my lesson. Okay. After that, I'll go to execute it in my class. After executing, I'm going to conduct, what is this? Assessment. What is this assessment of learning or for learning? Assessment for learning, or what is called as formative assessment. Once the assessment is completed, once the formative assessment is completed, what do? I'll take feedback. I'll look at the trends of formative assessment. I'll see how students have performed and I'll take feedback from that. And then I use the same feedback to come up with a plan version. Let's call it 2.0. Okay. That is, I'm improving my plan based on my feedback, right? That is the feedback that has been achieved out of formative assessments, or this conducting of formative assessment is helping me to plan better. These two are really connected with each other. Instruction is nothing but executing a plan, right? So assessment and instruction are connected to each other. This is not a difference between two. Okay, so the correct answer is option A. This is connected. You take this plan a lesson, execute it, nothing but instruction in the classroom. Depending on the instruction, you conduct the formative assessment. After the assessment, you look at students' performance and then take a feedback. What is good, what is not good. Then using that, you will alter your plans for the next day lesson. Great. Hope all of you have understood it. If there is any confusion, please let me know. I'll be happy to explain the same now. I'm going to wait for 15 seconds for any doubts. If you have any doubts, please post it. That is the end of today's live class. Any response, post it. Sorry, any doubts, do post it on the chat box so that I can answer them now. If not, you can say that I've understood, so that I know how many of you understood and how many of you are having doubts. Okay, great to see that all of you have understood it. I thoroughly enjoyed this live class, because generally I used to teach our enrolled students. I see some of the names in the chat box. I see all of them here. So for me, it's the first time that I'm taking this live class, interacting with all of you. It's been a great pleasure. It's been really energizing to see your responses, to see your enthusiasm to participate in a session and learn more and more about CTET. I wish you all the best for your CTET preparation, and as soon as there is a notification, you can expect a video from us. If not a mail from us, we will inform you about the same. So stay secured, stay confident. You are going to get that information. And please, if there are any doubts, if there is any feedback, please feel free to share on the screen. I enjoyed the live class thoroughly. I hope you also have enjoyed it as much as I did, and I also hope that you have understood this topic and mastered the same. as I spend some time on the topic. If you still haven't understood it, try to watch the video once again. I'm sure most of you are not going to do it because most of you have mastered the topic, but if there are any doubts, please go back and watch the video. All the best for your preparation. See you in next live class. And whenever I am there in the live class, you are going to from now onwards, you're going to get 2 Hindi live classes and 2 English live classes, and I'll be taking the English live classes. Next live class is going to be on mock test. So all the best. Keep preparing, keep working hard, and see you in next live class. Take care.